All right, now we're on the back nine. This is the finishing stretch of the Green Mountain Championships. So we're gonna see a lot of drama, a lot of potential for stroke swings. Let's check out the holes. All right, hole 10, 315 feet, par 3, forehand. I would say it's kind of like hole, what was it, hole 5 or 6, the uphill forehand hyzer. It's kind of similar to that, where it's pretty much the same shot, just a downhill version instead of an uphill version. But it's the same shot in the fact that you got to birdie it. So really just kind of want to throw one of my most overstable discs, obviously this felon, and I want to throw it kind of on a flex line that's going to spike. I don't really want to throw a forward penetrating hyzer, because a lot of times if you do that with this wet grass, it's going to want to get a straight skip OB, whereas the spiking hyzer is going to want to come down and just stick. So that's really what I'm thinking about, is the angle control coming into the green. So that should be good. It's going to spike, skip, and that should be about 15 to 20 feet short. And as you saw, I came in spiking as opposed to throwing a straighter felon that's going to go straight and then get that straight skip. It's got that more angle, dig into the ground. So this shot has the uphill slope here, so that's why you want to come in like spiking like I did. You don't want to come in flat, because then you're going to want to get a straight skip kind of out of bounds long, which I have done that before in my practice round. So I really make sure to throw overstable and get that spike finishing on this green. So that's hole 10. All right, hole 11, 595 foot, par 4. This hole is a bomber's delight, no doubt about that. If you throw it far enough and get close enough to that gap, you can kind of just jump putt or throw a tiny little chip shot. So you have to throw it far, but you also have to throw it accurate, because there's OB on both sides. And if you go right, you have no angle. So you kind of want to push this left-hand side, because that kind of opens up the gap into the green. And I'm going to go with the general smooth hyzer, kind of flip up to flat and then fade. You really don't want to just go dead straight. You still want to get that fade down there at 450, 500 feet. So that's a little bit too straight, like I was just talking about. It might be okay. Oh, I got a skip at the end. So I did get a skip, so that's good. Good line, just a little bit touch low, but really happy with the line on that. See here. So I'm gonna throw one of my first run generals, the purple and white. A little more hyzer. I want to try to get a little bit more fade instead of that one. Got a little bit of a straight finish. I want to skip a little bit left to open up that gap, which you'll see once we get down there. Just didn't. Same shot as that first one, kind of. So that's gonna be a tricky angle. Once again, I'm gonna throw it one more. Try to keep it on a little bit more hyzer here. Too much hyzer. So not quite hitting that. Yeah, that's OB. But yeah, let's play from the first one. I'm just kind of being a little bit nitpicky. I can still throw a shot from there. I just want to be a little bit more left to get that perfect angle in. We got my shot here a little bit right. As you can see, this guardian tree, you want to be a little left coming into this green. I'm a little bit right, which I'm close enough to the tree to where I can kind of just throw a jump putt to about 15, 20 feet short and be fine. So let's try that. Just really trying to get down there. So yeah, so that should be about 15, 20 feet short. And if you guys walk over here with me, you can see how the gap kind of opens up. Like I was talking about, has a lot more room to work once you're on this left-hand side. So not the end of the world, just makes it a little bit trickier for that approach. All right, here's where the jump putt landed. Now we just got a little bit of a downhill 15, 20 footer. We can handle it. So yeah, you can see, just throw the general. I can even throw a little smooth dagger approach or just a jump putt, whatever I feel like. And that's how you play this hole. And anytime you have a par 4 just like this with trees everywhere, anytime you can get a jump putt into the green, obviously makes your percentages for birdie way higher. So that's why I'm trying to bite off as much as I can on the drive. All right, hole 12, we got a par 5. This thing is long. I would say it's probably over 1,000 feet, and it's uphill most of the way. So yeah, kind of dog legs left and then back right at the end. This tee shot, you can see this bush on the left-hand side. It's at about 400 feet. You kind of want to fly over top of that and even go a little bit straight and then fade past it, because that kind of opens up the second shot to give you a chance for eagle. So I'm kind of just using that left side bush, trying to hyzer flip over top of that and fade back to the left-hand side. If I just go straight and to the right, it's fine. It's just gonna be a harder eagle. So just like that, it's fine. and it's safe. It's just really tough to get to the basket from there because it's so far to the right. So I'm gonna try to throw one, and it's not a bad shot. It's just not. I can still reach it. It's just way harder. Try to throw a little bit more left. There we go. That's the one. See how it's gonna go straight and then fade kind of back left towards these bushes at the end. And now that's gonna be a good angle coming into the green. So we'll check out the difference between those two. So we got my drive. As you can see from the tee, I kind of got that little bit of fade left around the bushes. And now it sets me up around this tree. I can throw a little bit easier of a shot, whereas over there it's a super severe ante. It's harder to get distance when you're throwing super high ante, whereas here it's just a smooth ante. I can get a lot more distance. So we still have about 500 feet uphill, OB both sides, so it's just angle control and crush it out there and try to get a putt. Just too low. So good line, just too low. So that's just gonna be a 4, which is, I guess, a birdie, but not what I'm going for. So I'm gonna try one more here. Yeah, I'm trying to get a 3. This one's a little bit more understable of a general. There we go, that's so much better. So that'll be probably about, I don't know, we'll see when we get up there, probably about 40, 50 feet away. But it was a good line, a little bit flippier of a general and a way better release. But yeah, the biggest thing about this is, like I talked about, being right versus being left-hand side, you got a way better chance of getting that eagle. And of course, that's what you want, to get that separation. If you're trying to win, you got to get the bonus birdie holes and you got to get the eagles on these holes to get that separation. It brings us to the third shot here through the general. Nice smooth turn, got about a 50-footer, 60-footer for the eags. Ooh, a little short, but at least we had a chance. That's really what you want out here. Give yourself a chance to make some putts. But general dagger, that's what I'm going to be doing to try and get this eagle. All right, hole 13, 405 foot par 3 over a hill and then back down and to the left around the kind of blind hill. This telephone pole is kind of a good reference point where you want to start your hyzer, and you want to make sure that you're starting kind of flat hyzer at that and then fading back left. There is a little gap that you can see on the left hand side. That's kind of the line you want to follow to the basket. So telephone pole. So that's pretty much exactly what I want to do right there. That should skip right to the basket. So that's the shot I'm trying to play. I mean, could have hit a random tree or something, but that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So try to do that same shot, see where I'm landing. Yep, same thing, same exact shot. And that's cash. So you can see how you want to go into the tree line and then start skipping and fading back left. We'll go up there and just kind of see what the reaction is of my disc. I obviously can't see it because it's blind, but they should both be inside the circle. We got my first shot here, pretty much 20-footer from short. Pretty much exactly what I want to do. Got the bird. But yeah, this hole is pretty simple. Throw like your smooth fairway or mid-range on hyzer, kind of get that skip off this kind of downslope and land somewhere in these chips. And then you should have a high percentage 20-30 footer majority of the time, unless it's windy. But this is another gotta get birdie. All right, hole 14, par 3 up this slight hill. We got 345 feet, plays about 380, 370, something like that, just because this upslope the whole way. I'm gonna throw a mid-range. I'm gonna take this middle gap. I used to throw this flex gap, but it kind of brings in a lot of out of bounds. And if you hit a tree with a driver on a skip shot, it just likes to roll OB. So I'm gonna eliminate all that, just try to throw my truss mid-range up the gut, try to hit that gap. There's the 2 trees in the middle that kind of define the middle gap. That's where I'm trying to land, and that should give you a circle's edge putt. So that's just a little bit left of the gap I'm wanting. See if it trickles through. So it didn't, and I got the roll OB like I was just talking about. I manifested it. Get that out of the way now before the tournament starts. But I'm gonna throw a better shot on this one. Try to hit that gap. That one I just kind of missed it a little bit to the left. There we go. That's 10 times better. So it's gonna hit the gap. There's no trees there, so it's not gonna hit a tree, and it's just gonna be right where it lands. So that's a way better shot. I'm gonna throw one more just to get it dialed. Another truss as well, and try to repeat that shot. There we go. That's gonna be short, but it's gonna be skip and be all right. So 50, 60 footer. But yeah, that first one was nice and high. Anytime you throw high, you want to be, especially with an upslope, you want to make sure to get up over the majority of the hill and give yourself that putt. My compass, the mid-range that kind of hit the gap and just kind of faded out, got about 30 feet or so, something like that. Just kind of got a little bit of a straddle putt, something like this. So yeah, that's kind of the name of the game. I just like throwing the flat shot. The first one was kind of a fluke. I've never even seen a straight shot roll OB like it did. So the straight shots pretty much don't go out of bounds, and they just give you, and even if you hit a tree, you're hitting a tree with a flat angle instead of a hyzer, which is more likely to roll. So that's why I like to go up the gut instead of throwing a driver around the outside. All right, hole 15, 320 foot forehand hole. I would say this is a forehand hole if I've ever seen one. But we got the gap here, and you kind of want to throw like a sawed-off shot that kind of just really fades back to the right. You don't really want to throw it straight because you're going to run into trees long. You'd rather kind of flare and skip early right, because if you hit the gap and skip early right, you're going to be inside the circle. So I'm going to throw kind of a glidey, my Pioneer that's glidey. It's not super stable. And exactly like that. That even might be a little wide. Okay, that's perfect. But yeah, that's exactly what I'm going for. Just throw kind of a skip shot around the corner like that. I got hit a random tree, which you can't see, but I mean, I don't really even worry about that. I threw the shot exactly like I wanted to, and that's really all I care about. I don't really care about results, because I know the results will come once I throw good shots. So this one's wet. A lot of people, a lot of amateurs especially, they focus on the result, like that shot, like, oh, a bad shot. It's like, no, that was a good shot. It just, you hit a tree that you can't even see. So there's nothing to be mad about besides that you threw a good shot. So the exact same shot as the first one, and that one got through. So the result's different on that shot, but I threw both of them the exact same. So there's no reason to be mad about the first one. And I see that a lot with amateurs in tournaments. And that's the problem with somewhat problem with disc golf, is a lot of people get caught up on the results instead of just trying to focus on throwing good shots no matter what the result is. And that's something I feel like I do really well. I'm not result oriented. I'm not going to be mad about a shot like that I threw exactly how I wanted to and just didn't get a good result. That's kind of how you got to keep how you got to be to keep your mental frame in a good spot to score at a high level. So that's what's up. This shot's 70 feet away and that shot's 10 feet, and it was literally the exact same shot. So you can still save it with a long putt like this, but it's still pretty much the exact same shot. That's not bad. Do a forehand birdie. See, even if you get a bad roll and a bad kick, that's why you don't focus on the result, because I got the same score, even though this shot's 10 feet and that one was 80 feet. Results don't matter until it's in the basket. All right, hole 16, we got 700 foot par 4. This is one of the most fun holes, specifically for the challenge of it. You're going up over this hill and then back down. So your nose angle is going to be up as you're going over this hill. So you kind of got to throw a little bit flippier of a disc to get that desired straight flight. So I'm going to throw the trust, and you really want to make sure to land in the middle of the fairway, because if not, it's just a layup and you're not even going to have a chance for birdie. So that's low, but it should get a good skip. Okay, so we got a really good skip, so I should be able to reach it from there, but overall just too low. We'll throw the same shot with this disc, just try to throw a little bit higher. Threw it higher, just threw it too much hyzer, and that's just going to be a par, nothing special. But that's why you gotta throw a really good shot to get in position. If you just throw a mediocre shot, it's just, you're going to get a par. There we go. That's a birdie right there. So that's exactly what you want. Dead straight, just over the hill. It's going to hit and trickle, and it should have another mid-range to the basket. All right, so now we got the fairway, which is not much of a fairway because we got roots and we got stumps everywhere, which makes it a super awkward run up. And we're going uphill, so it's, if this is a flat fairway with no stumps or roots, it would be a pretty routine shot. But since you've got a lot to work with here, it's super awkward and it's going to mess up your timing. So you just got to focus on your footwork and hope for the best. So that's not bad. It should be kind of left side, 50, 60 footer. Yeah, got a good rollout, super good rollout. But even if it doesn't hit that tree and drop, which normally it doesn't, it's still, you know, not the worst shot ever. Once again, not really too worried about the result of that shot. I know where it should have landed, probably about 40 or 50 feet, which I'm even fine with that. I just got a super good break. But here, anytime you're running uphill, your hips like to lag behind your arm. So like your arm's gonna wanna come through before your hips because you got this upslope, so your hips are gonna wanna come through slower. So you kind of really gotta force your hips through the shot. Oh shoot, see. And that's when you get those left misses like that. That's because my arm's here and my hips haven't turned into the gap. My arm's stuck in this position. It's gonna wanna go straight to the left instead of letting my hips rotate and then hitting the gap. So that's a big thing that happens when you got a uphill run up like we do here. There we go. Rotated my hips way better that time and hit the gap. The Explorer that got the good result, more than likely we probably would have been about 40 feet in the bushes, which is also not bad. But we'll of course take the better lie any day. So yeah, dial in the 30-footer on the slightly elevated bucket, and we got it dialed. All right, hole 17, 385 blind around the corner. We got wet grass, so you're gonna want to hang it out wide and let it skip. If you skip basket high or even left to basket high, you have a chance of skipping OB left. So you kind of want to hit right side of the basket with this wet grass and skip to basket high. So throwing a smooth Pioneer, not the most overstable disc. I'm just throwing it on hyzer to have it kind of get that glidey hyzer around the corner. Just like that. That is pretty much exactly what I want to do. Should skip and be about inside the circle for sure. Inside 20, I would imagine. Now I'm going to throw one more. This is going to be exact same version of that disc, just a little bit more stable, and throwing the same shot. That's going to be too wide, probably OB to the wide side if I had to guess, unless it gets like a crazy skip. But we'll see. Yeah, you really want to kind of hug this left-hand side corner of the trees because the OB does come out to the right. So if you pull it like that second one, it's going to want to hang out too far right and be OB. So that first one's going to be good, and the second one's going to be challenging that OB line to the right side. I remember watching the Worlds when Barsby won back in 2019. This hole can be fluky for sure. Anton threw a perfect shot, hit the wood, and rolled OB, and Barsby two'd it, and he ended up winning. So yeah, lots of stuff can happen on this hole. It's crazy. I remember that moment for sure. But yeah, it's a good hole. It's a blind hole. Sometimes you can't see what the disc's doing as far as the reaction goes. But yeah, I like the hole. So yeah, this red one was probably a lot better of a shot. It didn't really have a chance to go OB. This one probably just got a crazy good skip. But yeah, we'll putt from both these. They're pretty much in the exact same spot. So yeah, this putt gets a lot more challenging whenever you add tournament pressure, and you also add the 20-mile-an-hour headwind that's normally here. Because if you miss, you're going to be going almost out of bounds long. All right, hole 18, 775-foot par 4, one of the most beautiful holes in disc golf. I like to throw this right side with something super overstable. My thinking is that I want to go out over the OB and then spike into the ground. I don't want to throw something too glidey that's going to want to glide left if I throw it on too much hyzer. I just want to focus on throwing at one angle and then throwing super overstable to spike to the ground. So I'm going to try to go right side of this tree. There's a middle tree on the right side of this kind of airspace where we're trying to go. So I'm trying to go right of it and spiking down with the Ballista Pro Albert Tam. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Now it's going to fly and then it's going to go spiking into the ground right now, and no chance to go OB. So that's why I like to throw the overstable instead of throwing the glidey hyzer. It's going to hit and want to skip. So I'll throw one more just to show you why I like that kind of spiking hyzer. I'm going to throw the same shot with this Enforcer. So high, and that one's a little bit more left, but it's also spiking, so it should just spike and sit or get a crazy skip. So that did get a crazy skip, but you know, more times than not, yeah, the wet grass don't help. So we'll try one more and try to throw a little bit. The problem is you can't really throw it any wider because you got this tree line on the left, on the right hand side. So if anything, I do want to go OB left as opposed to OB right. You're going to take an automatic double bogey if you do that. So it's not the worst shot. So that's good. Way better shot. But as you can see, I kind of risked going OB and hitting that tree right there. So really good shot with those. All three of those I'm happy with. I mean, I got a bad skip on the second one, but it was still a good shot. And we're not going to be playing it early in the morning with this wet grass, so I'm not going to have to worry about those crazy skips. So we got the upshot. This is the drive. This is kind of the sweet spot pocket that a lot of my shots land. And it puts you on this left-hand side away from this tree. If you get on the right-hand side of this fairway, this tree really kind of blocks your upshot. Right now I got a wide open shot. I'm throwing my soft slammer because we got a fast green. And as you know, anytime there's a fast green, I want to throw a soft disc that's going to skip instead of a hard, or soft disc that's going to stick instead of a hard disc that's going to skip. So this is just going to hit and stick wherever it's going to land. Just like that. Watch when it lands, it's just going to hit and not go anywhere. Doink. So that's actually still skipped, but skipped a lot less than a hard disc would, just because it's that soft, grabby slammer plastic. Albert Tam, Ballista, then we got slammer, then we got dagger. That's how you birdie hole 18. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week at the MVP Open.